Yo, what's going on? Mike from Mike Talk Sports. Now that Jonathan Taylor just officially requested a trade from the Indianapolis Colts, they really need one of their backup running backs to step up to the plate, and in my opinion, that will be rookie running back Evan Hull. So in today's video, we're going to be breaking down Evan Hull in order to determine, can he step up in Jonathan Taylor's absence? So Evan Hull is a rookie running back out of Northwestern, and he was the 176th pick in the 5th round of this year's NFL draft. He was a very, very solid player in high school, garnering 2-time All-Minnesota running back honors, which earned him a full ride at Northwestern, and he was very solid at Northwestern. In 2021, he put up a 1,000-yard season with 7 touchdowns. He also added 33 catches for 264 yards and 2 touchdowns. In the next year, he put up 913 yards, 5 touchdowns, 55 catches, 546 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns. So Evan Hull definitely has a significant amount of experience in the pass catching game as a running back. Evan is a guy, when you dial up the tape, you definitely come away from it thinking he's a very physically talented guy, but at the NFL Combine, he really exemplified this by having a very good NFL Combine, which really wowed some scouts. He put up a 4.47, which to me is extremely impressive, and it really exemplifies that he has a very good work ethic. Why do I say that? Evan Hull's top speed looks like it's 4.47 40-yard dash caliber, but the thing is, on a snap-to-snap basis in college, he really does not display this, as he somewhat struggled to get to his top speed. He's a guy who accelerated at a below league average level, and he's a guy with below league average burst off the line of scrimmage, but that's something he knows, and he definitely worked on it in this offseason. If I had to guess what his 40-yard dash time would be, it would be about 4.5540. So the fact that he came out and ran a 4.47 yard 40 was very impressive. He also put up a 37-inch vertical, and he did 21 reps on the bench, which puts him in the upper echelon in terms of strength for running backs. And overall, when you watch him, it's that very good contact balance along with that very strong, compact running style that he does have, and something I absolutely love about Evan Hull. He doesn't necessarily accelerate at this insane level, but he is such a north-south runner. He's one of those running backs that are not going to dance whatsoever, which I really love. He has good vision, which allows him to hit the correct hole immediately upon a play, and even in the receiving game, it seems as though after the catch, he really gets to the point. He's not going to try to juke, stutter step, or just outsmart his defender. He simply is going to run into them or run by them with that really nice speed and that nice combination of speed and power as a runner. And something that I love about Evan Hull that really is exemplified by the stats is his ability in the receiving game. He's one of those rare running backs I look at and I go, not only is he a very good route runner as a running back, he genuinely would be a solid, about average route runner if he actually was a wide receiver. That's how good of a receiving game Evan Hull does possess. He's a guy who occasionally can even line up in the slot in the NFL. He has an extremely natural catching profile. He's a very clean hand catcher, and that clean hand catching really allows him to turn upfield even quicker than the average running back would, which really does help Evan Hull as a dynamic option as a pass catcher coming out of the backfield, and that's something that is going to be vital to Anthony Richardson's development. I'll be completely honest, as a unbiased viewer of this Colts situation, I'm extremely disappointed for Anthony Richardson. In my opinion, Anthony Richardson really not being there yet as a passer really requires the Colts to have a very good run game, and of course they are going to have a good run game with Anthony Richardson, as he's one of the most talented runners of the football at the quarterback position we've ever seen coming into the NFL, and the fact that they won't have that 1-2 punch with him and Jonathan Taylor is very disappointing. And in my opinion, Evan Hull is a good runner of the football, but he's not going to add that dynamic that Jonathan Taylor would have added. But at least with Evan Hull, compared to Zach Moss, Jack Funk, or even Kenyon Drake, at least Evan Hull can be a consistent pass-catching threat out of the backfield for him. Now, one thing I will note, Evan does need to work on his pass pro to get consistent snaps on third down passing situations, in my opinion, but that's something that I think he will quickly get, as he does definitely have the play strength in order to be a good run blocker and a good pass blocker at the running back position. So why do I think Evan Hull is better than Zach Moss? Why do I think he's better than Jake Funk? And why do I think he's better than Kenyon Drake? Well, let me explain. Let's start with Zach Moss. People think he's going to be the de facto starter in place of Jonathan Taylor. And while I don't necessarily disagree with that, I do think Evan Hull at some point in the season, either mid-season or late season, will take over for Zach Moss, as I think the coaching staff will identify that Evan Hull is better than Zach Moss. Again, why do I say that? Well, Zach Moss is kind of your jack of all trade, master of none guy, whereas Evan Hull does have a higher end ability, and that is, of course, in the pass catching game. Evan Hull is simply more physically talented than Zach Moss. He's faster than Zach Moss. The big play ability and the home run ability from Evan Hull is just greater than Zach Moss's at this point. In Zach Moss's entire career, in a pretty solid sample size, the longest catch he's ever had is 24 yards, which I think Evan Hull can beat in his rookie season, and the longest run of his career is 43 yards. That's not that bad. The issue is on an Anthony Richardson, Zach Moss read option, that defensive end that Anthony Richardson is going to be reading is going to play contain every single time with Zach Moss. They're going to give Zach Moss the opportunity to take the ball every single time. They're not going to let Anthony Richardson run it. Whereas, in my opinion, with Jonathan Taylor, man, the defense would completely be at bay and they would need to overcommit to stop the run every single time, which really would open up the passing game with Anthony Richardson. I really think back at rookie quarterbacks like Dak Prescott. His development was significantly helped because of this, with Ezekiel Elliott being so good his rookie season. And I don't think Evan Hull is going to be able to replace that at all. But in my opinion, at least Evan Hull gives a potential chance at being explosive enough for the defense to somewhat respect. Whereas with Zach Moss, again, they're not going to respect that read option whatsoever. But overall, the down-to-down consistency from Zach Moss really is not that bad at all whatsoever. His 4.3 yards per attempt for his career is about league average, if not slightly above league average. So he's not that bad. But again, I think Evan Hull is more of a home run hitter, which is what Shane Steichen will be looking at for his skill position players under Anthony Richardson. Then you have Kenyon Drake. He actually had a sneaky solid year on the Ravens. But again, like I said, with Zach Moss, that high-end explosive ability just is not there from him anymore. And then Jake Funk, I don't even know if he makes the roster. That explosive ability is there from Jake Funk, but he had such a significant injury history at Maryland. I don't know if he'll turn that into a solid NFL career at this point. Thanks for listening to the video, guys. Let me know in the comment section below, do you agree with my take that Evan Hull is the most explosive option on the Colts at running back outside of Jonathan Taylor? Do I think he can give you the production that Jonathan Taylor gives you? Of course not, but I think he's the most solid option for the Colts. If you listen till the end of the video, I really appreciate it. Smack that like and hit subscribe.